So you know that this is another challenging area we have to always experience, the clientelism or patron-client relationships in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka being a country or nation having quite a lot of environmental resources. We know that that is another area where we experience quite a lot of conflict over natural resources. So as Siral Laktilaka and the other colleagues requested me to do the study, especially it was a challenging business to get into the scenario of the sand mining in Polonnaruwa, where you experience a lot of political influence. So however, we managed to do the study as a sociological study. It was a kind of a qualitative study. So we happened to be there with some of our colleagues. So our aim was to explore what are the socio-political and cultural factors that are dealing with the sand mining, especially in the Manampiti area, which was one of the focal point of the sand mining in Sri Lanka. So for that, of course, we use a questionnaire survey as well as in-depth interview with some informal discussions. So then we know that when it comes to Sri Lanka has been using a lot of sand resources for its construction. When construction started in the south, I mean in Colombo, maybe highways, other constructions, country needs to have more sand resources. Then there was a big demand. With that respect, there was a setup government proposed that is called as a Geological Survey and Mine Bureau. We call it simply GSMB. It was set up by government with the Geological Survey and other mining sections. So with that, of course, government believes that they try to formalize the sand mining process. However, there were a lot of politics and there were a lot of social issues. So we try to explore them within a short period of time with some limitations and some other ethical issues. So I will simply share some of the quantitative findings. Now you see that when you go there to study the clientelism with regard to the sand mining, the interesting thing is it has become a part and parcel of the livelihood of the people. It says that there are around 2,000 to 3,000 trucks which are transporting sands, and also around 4,000 to 5,000 laborers whose main livelihood depends on the sand mining industry. And there are some indirect livelihood opportunities for people. So then we happen to explore what is the correlation between their day-to-day livelihood and sand mining industry. Especially we know that the laborers who enjoy most of their livelihood thanks to this sand mining industry. So therefore, they are not ready to even talk to us. They assume that even revealing some of the information will put them into trouble, as well as the industry will go into trouble. So therefore, we understood that some people, they have been working in the industry more than 10-15 years. So there is a negative sort of relationship which supported their livelihood. And most of the time, they negatively answered to most of our questions. We all the time receive the no response for most of our questions, because we always distrust us. The reason is they thought that we are kind of a spy service, and so we happen to re-socialize ourselves and stay there for a long time and get some of the basic informations. When we go to the in-depth interviews, it is mainly through the political channel they found this job, but they never reveal that. So that we will be able to understand when we come to the qualitative data. So do you have license or legal permission for business or involvement? Initially, after the court decisions, only there were around 40 sand mining centers. But after those 40 centers also were given to the Samurdhi beneficiaries, those who enjoy some of the Samurdhi benefits, they were below the poverty line. But unfortunately, those sand mines were resold to local politicians, and they again sold them in the local market to their political, supporters. So in that sense, finally the 40 sand mines increased up to around 200. So you can imagine how those sand mines increase from time to time. Are you aware of the process of obtaining the licensing? So most of the time you see the no response. Nobody respond to our questions. Business connected with any local politicians. Again you see no response. So in that sense, our quantitative figures or data is very mysterious. Do you have any close work with political parties to run your sand related job? Again, yes, very few people. Most of them are saying that no response. We'll quickly come to the most important part of our discussion, the qualitative finding. This is very important for us. Normally when it comes to the qualitative findings, when we go through this study, the most important concept is political ecology. You know that I can clearly explain and emphasize that it is through the political ecology the patron-client relationship is built for the environmental political economy. We have to understand what is political ecology. So basically we have to critically understand who owns the natural resources, who has the access to natural resources, who can control the natural resources. That is the fundamental argument of the political ecology. So according to the political ecology of sand mining in Sri Lanka, I think the access and the right and control of the sand resources are directly or indirectly owned by the politicians. I mean, it was clearly discussed from time to time when the government changed or the local political leadership changed, even the ownerships were changed among themselves. Especially we know that, I think Professor Sumanasiri Lienege might know better than me about the Gunnar Myrdal, the Swedish political economist. He talks about the substate theory. So we clearly see the substate theory within this sand mining industry of Manampitiya or Polonnaruwa, because although there are rules and regulations which were given to the district secretary, as well as the wildlife, forest department and other authorities, but the politicians were very much powerful and their clients were very much powerful. And for example, from 1 cube of sand, the divisional secretary was given only 100 rupees. Only 100 rupees was given to them. The rest of the income was distributed among themselves. But there was another story we can discuss later. So then we have to understand the political ecology. The other most important thing is the non-system. I think we have to separately and specifically study about the non-system. We frequently study and discuss about the system. But what is the non-system? Sometimes non-system is more powerful than the system. That is not only in the sand mining industry. Even if you go to the PETA, the credit market, people are very much attached to the non-system credit marketing facilities, more than the formal marketing facilities. So even in the sand mining, they know how to get involved with the non-systemic approach. For example, they always use a philanthropic basis or welfare basis for their industry. Sometimes by using a Buddhist monk or school principal, they try to control the even state mechanism. So you can see some of the responses made by important people that we talk to them in the field. Its ruling party always decides the sand mining permit. When the government change, it always influences the ownership of the river sand mining permit attached to Manampitiya. This is not my statement. This is a transcribing we got from the people themselves. When a politician became the president of the country here, he largely influenced the sand mining industry. He increased the sand mining permit from 48 to 210. You know who is being referred to here, president. Politician, whoever comes to ruling party or minister of the environment, controls the mining permits. Those politicians always use slogan of the development of Polonnaruwa, promotion of the livelihood of the Polonnaruwa people through sand mining. You know, GSBM also always provided more chances to politically related people. It provided them to extract unlimited amount of sand, and it provided only three main companies to extract sand. Those companies are related to president of the country. This mainly they talk about that one particular era. It was clearly identified that nepotism or favorism happened even in the mechanism of GSBM. So even if the government put up a specific mechanism to control or the manage the sand mining, the people accept that, including the mine owners who come from the political patronage. They believe that nepotism and favorism, supporting the close relatives and some of their party members. GSBM tells that they have to pay amount of money or tax to wildlife, forest department, district secretariat, and some local authorities who know that these are really happening. These rules are useless when it comes to politicians. These are their own words. The sand mine owners who have more close connection with politicians can do anything beyond the state rule and policies. The manager of the GSMB is always determined by Minister of Politician of the Polonnaruwa. GSMB always influence the registration of the lorries, trippers for the transporting sands. So you can imagine, some trippers and orders were given priority based on the political relationships. Even external authorities who come from the inspection of the availability of sands and environmental condition of the river are influenced or bribed. There is a special committee appointed to see whether there is any availability or more than enough sand resources, but they are also being bribed or influenced. One more citation. I am a Sri Lanka Freedom Party supporter for a long time and have been working for the betterment of the party. I managed to get the permit for sand mine at Dimbulagala, where there is a tributary river of Mahavali is found. Since I got this sand permit, thanks to my party. So then this is not my manipulation or interpretation. They themselves say. I usually support the SLFP leaders of Polonnaruwa and organize all these meetings in my area. I try in my best to get the vote of my villagers for my party. Sometimes I help both party leaders as well as people to get integrate party and community. So look at this one. This is a kind of a model that I developed by using all these qualitative findings. In one corner you see the state institutes. On the other hand there is a community. On the other side you have the political party. The sand or mine owners are in the right middle. So welfareism, voting and bribery. These are the three bridging bodies of those three important institutes. So we can see that sand mining has become one of the important patron-client mechanism, even, empowering the community sometimes, even empowering the state mechanisms. So we can't separate it as an illegal law, as an antisocial, because that itself has become a very powerful, socially established mechanism. So some of the conclusion, you can see the political ecology determines the access, rights and ownership to the sand resources. The non-system built upon the sand mining industry is powerful than state system. The democratic mechanism of GSMB helps to maintain the clientelism and sand mining. So sometimes we have a problem whether democracy in the third world like Sri Lanka is supporting the anti-environmental policies of this country. The mine owners are functions as a social banditry. I think some of you might know the word social banditry. So, like for example, we can say Palita Tevarapperuma is a social banditry man who violates rules and regulation and try to help people. Sand mine owners, they engage in environmental rules violation and extract unlimited amount of the sand and help people of the area or maybe party of their area. So then they become a kind of a benevolent dictators. So with that, of course, this patron-client relationships justify these illegal and unauthorized sand mining because of the social banditry. Finally, the subculture of the sand mining is changing into a kind of a counterculture. So in future sometime it will be a more serious problem. So these are some of the qualitative findings we had. Thank you very much.